Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJAMZ. Music and picture books, what a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together, what a yummy snack. PBJAMZ, yummy books and music. PBJAMZ, reading,
Good morning or
writing,
good afternoon,
teaching.
whenever it is that you are joining us. For me and for Brandon right now, we're in November, but by the time you see this, we are going to be knocking on the door of the Christmas season. Actually, we're going to be fully into the Christmas season by then. So we hope that you are having already a jolly and merry and happy Christmas and whatever else you happen to celebrate. But we are glad that you're taking some time to hang out with us here. And we have such a fun book for you today, and it is very seasonal. You can see it here behind me. So I have Brandon Boren here, and we're going to dive right in and we're going to talk about all the things with Santa's 18-wheeler sleigh. That's not the exact title, but you can see, and it's so fun. And there's a song, and so we have so much to dive into. So, Brandon, welcome and thank you for being here on PB Jams today.
Hello, hello. I'm glad to be here. Very happy to be here. Hello, everybody.
So happy to have you. So this is such a unique take on the Christmas season and the Santa story and all of that. So we're just going to dive right in. Just tell us about
Sure.
this book and how it originated, where it got started.
Okay, you got it. Well, it is a mouthful too. It's Santa's 18-wheel chrome and steel sleigh. So I can understand that, like, even I forget how to, the exact title or the wording of it sometimes. So the way it got started, I'm actually, if you could tell from the guitars behind me, I'm actually consider myself more of a musician and a songwriter than an author of books. I wrote this song, and we could the backstory is a little long, but I had the pleasure of recording down in Muscle Shoals, and anybody that knows anything about the music business knows a little bit about Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Some of the world's most beloved music came out of there, from Aretha Franklin and all that. To Leonard Skinner to Roy Orbison. I mean,
Mm.
people all over the world know music that was recorded in Muscle Shoals. Well, I was down there and I was working with some great musicians and producers, and one of the producers had suggested, that I should consider writing some Christmas music. And this was like in July or whatever. Uh, it was a smart idea. I came home and I was on vacation, middle of the summer in Maryland, and anybody that's been in Maryland in the summer knows that it's hot and humid. But I sat down in my studio and I wrote a couple Christmas songs. I really, really like the old truck driving music, Del Reeves and bands like Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen and these like they're just great songs. I was born in the early 70s, and I was a boy. I loved Smokey and the Bandit. I always liked trucks, just like any other little boy. And so that was one of my ideas for this song was like between like liking truck driving music, being a musician, kind of into country music and all that. This idea just came to me. Well, what if the reindeer gets sick and Santa's got to take a tractor trailer truck around the world to deliver the toys? And that's where this truck driving music has this sort of like it's always got a lot of words, and it's um it's kind of like the form of the song that I wrote. And so I wrote this song. I thought, I had a great response from the song. People liked the song and it was fun. Not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, we were doing some Christmas concerts, and I had brought it up to a friend of mine. I was like, it would be great to like get a guy like Brad Paisley or something to record this song. I mean, is that the dream of any musician, is to have
Exactly, right?
a big name artist do the song? But I got to thinking, it's it lends itself to this imagery, and like, it's Santa flying around in a tractor trailer truck and reindeer that talk and all this and that. It occurred to me that could be fun as a book. and particularly a children's book. It's already a song. It already rhymes. It's already kind of cute. Kids, I was born on Christmas. I've always had a soft spot for Christmas,
Oh, that's awesome.
and so it developed really quickly. It went from just like, maybe this is a good idea, to like, hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And so through a friend, I found an author at actually very, very lucky to find an author, Scott McBride, who has done a series of books, Connor the Courageous Cutter. He's a retired Coast Guard guy, and he's done really well with his books. He's with this publisher, Mascot and Amplified, and I was really lucky that he lived close by. Met with him. He was super enthusiastic about the idea, about the story and the book, and he introduced me to the publisher and the folks at Mascot, and then just from there, that's how it came to life. We did all the things that you do to make a book. I had an editor, and we went through the whole process. Was extremely fortunate, out of all of the artists that the publisher presented, that one of them that we just absolutely immediately fell in love with, Sean Ivey. He was available. He wanted to do the project. And for any of you that can see the book and get to thumb through the pages, he was particularly adept at like doing night scenes, which of course
Yeah.
it's Christmas, and it's Christmas night. So it was immediately like, we were like, oh boy, this guy's the guy to do the illustration. And everything just kind of, here's a great picture. He's flying through the city over the cop cars and the stars. So it all kind of fell together really nicely. And not being, this is my first book, and new to the process. It really couldn't have gone better, like from all the editing and all that, working with the artist and the editors and all that. And now, of course, we're in the marketing phase of it, which is a whole new thing, and very important, as
Yeah.
anybody in business will tell you. You can't forget about that part of it. So, but more than anything, I'm an artist. I consider myself an artist. I don't want to sound too pretentious, but I did it. I did the book. It came to life. The story came to life, and it's just so exciting now to share it with people.
Yeah, it's so fun, and right. I find that like each phase of the process brings new stuff to learn, right? Like you just
Oh, sure.
yeah, like you were saying, I got this part done, and now comes the marketing, and now it's new stuff to learn and new things to figure out, and but you've
Oh,
done a
totally.
great job. Do you want to show some of the swag that you
Oh my gosh. Well,
look at this fun swag? I love it.
for anybody that might be my age or not even my age, I grew up like, when Star Wars came out and stuff. And I think that was kind of a new concept, like go that deep into the marketing
Yeah.
and the dolls and this and that. And nowadays it's just commonplace, right?
Right.
So it was fun. I mean, we've got hats
Yeah.
and like all our tagging, and then of course the book. And I've got toy trucks
Love
with
that.
that are painted like the art in the book. And I've got other stuff. It's all kind of all over the house, as you imagine. Ornaments, Christmas tree ornaments, and squeeze ball trucks, and all kinds of fun stuff. And so we've been bringing that some of that stuff with us to like the book readings and that kind of stuff. And people have been eating it up. They love it. I thought I was going to end up with a garage full of stuff in July, but it's actually, we're having a hard time keeping up with the demand. So it's really great. And I think we're going to offer some of your viewers some gifts too, perhaps.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
swag, yes.
That'll be fun. That'll be great fun. I love hearing all these stories about how books come to life, and every book has its very own backstory, and it's so interesting how different they are. And I love that you just had a connection with this publisher, and it all just kind of came from there. But of course, you had done so much legwork ahead of time, and also interesting to note that sometimes, authors work in so many different ways. And for you as a musician, it totally makes sense. Like the song came first and then the story came out of that. For some people, they start with a title or they start with, a character or whatever, but yours started with a
Hmm.
song. So, and I love that you mentioned, the country music because it definitely has that, country music flair. So for all of which is a natural association with the trucking songs. Um,
Sure, sure, of course.
yeah, I
And
was
I
born in,
and
no, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say too, and naturally, because it was a song first, when you get to the end of the book, the end of the story, oh, and I got lucky and I flipped to it. The After the last page of the story, if you come to this, there's a QR code and you can scan the QR code. It takes you to the website and you can go back to the beginning of the story and press play and actually listen to, I say it's Santa and his reindeer performing the song. It's actually a gentleman named Garrett Miles who was on American Idol.
Oh, no.
He's fantastic, and some Nashville studio musicians. There's actually a rendition of the song that you can then follow along the illustrations in the book too, which is great. And that'll have to do until Brad Paisley records it, and then we'll put Brad. Sorry, Garrett, but we're going to put Brad Paisley's version on the website. But yeah, so yes, you can follow along with the illustrations with the actual song too, which I'm hearing is the kids are loving. They're having a great time with that too.
Well, for sure. And you were talking about like the timing of your growing up and myself also. I was born in the late 60s. And so we grew up with the books on record, right? Like I
Oh
don't
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, we would sit with the book and we would have the record playing, and then later it was the cassette tapes, and then later it was the CDs. And now this is the new generation of that. Like you just click a QR code and va va voom, here you are with the
yeah.
song, the story, and so that's always so good. And I think for myself as a young reader, like that was one of the things that I think really, really helped me to become a very good reader very early was having that support in my ear of the story being read or the song and the words in front of me, the fluency piece, the prosody, all those things. I'm teacher lingoing right now, Brandon. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
No, I
geeking out
love
a
it.
bit here. But yeah, like I think that's one of the really positive things about having stories recorded. And so whether it's a song or just a spoken recording, I think that's such good help for kids in their reading journey, especially for those reluctant readers that are maybe not quite ready to read it by themselves, or they may not have somebody at home that's willing to take the time to read to them. And so here they have it available for them, which I think is really spectacular. And I grew up with a lot of my uncles, loving the trucking music and, um, Teddy Bear. I don't know if you remember that old.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Yeah.
it rips
Oh
me to
God.
shreds every time I hear it.
Tears.
Yeah,
I have seen 6'7" truck drivers cry
it
listening to
is.
Teddy Bear. Oh yeah. So if you're listening out there and you don't know the song Teddy Bear, go out and look it up.
I will
It's
put it in
a
the YouTube playlist
There
for
you
go
go.
along
Yeah,
with the
it's
episode.
so sweet. It's so
It is
sweet.
so sweet, but very
Yeah.
it's hard,
Oh
tear
yeah. Oh
jerking
yeah.
and heart rending for sure. But that was I love that about the 70s and maybe up into the early 80s that they were really um putting a softer side to the truckers and helping people see that they were not just, gruff and mean, but that they had a
Sure.
tender side,
Yeah.
that they did a lot
Well,
of good
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Sure. And I think, I'm very thankful that like people recognize how important those folks are that do that job,
Absolutely.
and it's a, you know, we wouldn't well, especially nowadays that we rely so much on these companies that deliver stuff right to our door, I didn't really, it's funny because I didn't think about this stuff when I did the book or the song, quite frankly. Uh how much some of this resonates even with people today, kids today. They see the Amazon guy pull up every day. And so I
Yeah.
think it's kind of fun. Like, well, Santa's kind of like that.
Well, and
He's like the ultimate Amazon
right,
delivery. Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
all little boys and little girls, I mean,
Yeah, sure,
be gender
sure.
specific, but I think all of us when we were little, especially like we love the big trucks and the
Oh
tractors and
yeah,
the,
yeah.
all those things. And I think that's
They're
universal.
fascinating. They're
Yeah,
fascinating to
I
us, I
think
think, to
that's
see.
going to
Whoa.
be, yeah, that's going to be the
Yeah,
case, I think, for
yeah,
many years to come. I don't think that's going to change. The
yeah.
format might change, but I think that love of things that go and, wheels
Sure.
and all that, it's just fascinating
Yeah,
for kids.
yeah.
So I think you definitely tapped into that market as well. And I think, one of the things we talk about as picture book writers is having lots of layers. And I was just jotting down as I was reading back through and as we were talking, like so many excellent layers in your story. You have the country music layer, right? You have the truckers and the trucker songs and the trucker lingo, the good buddy and the breaker breaker, 1 9 and all of that,
Yeah.
what's your 20 and all those things. So, all the trucker stuff. You have, of course, the Christmas layer with Santa and the reindeer and Christmas and Santa delivering toys. You have the geography layer. I mean, there's so much from a teacher perspective. Like, there's so much you can talk about with the geography, both United States and world geography. You have both.
Hmm.
We also talk about how important it is to have layers for the kids, but then also maybe a little something, something for the parents and so for me, that throwback to the trucker lingo and all of that, like it does that too. Like it gives the parents something to kind of say, oh, this is pretty cool.
Sure.
Like I remember this.
But and it's funny you say that because when I was writing the book, and and like oftentimes like a song or a story will come really quickly. This one was fortunately one that really came really quite easily and quickly. And I can remember when I was writing, like, have Mrs. Claus warm a pot of Joe, fill a 64-ounce cup to go. A kid is not going to know what a 64 ounce, but an adult will know, like, well, that's a ludicrous, but they
Amount.
sell 64-ounce cups at like 7-Eleven and stuff. So
They
I thought
do.
it might crack. It kind of cracked me up, and I thought it might crack up like adults and stuff. I didn't know. We all loved the like Looney Tunes and stuff when we were kids. And then as you get older and you watch them, you realize you're like, oh, there's stuff in there that I didn't even notice,
Yeah.
like that kids would never get. And and then so there was that. And then also things like I wanted to, I put like a thing in there about like a little help from some friendly cops. I want to point out that, like, these people they're friendly, they're there to help us, you know what I'm saying? They're not bad and mean and scary. And so I was very conscious of like those kinds of things, and the geography. Like, I thought it would be fun. I loved like Shel Silverstein when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I realized how much an influence
Mm.
he had on my creativity and intellect too. I mean, those were not dumbed down poems, and his writing. There was depth and intellect to those things, even though they were maybe written for children. They didn't treat you like an idiot.
Right. It didn't
They
talk
made you
down.
think.
Mhm. Yeah.
Stretched your imagination and
Yeah.
think outside the box. And so I don't know if I did that with this, but I didn't want to, I didn't think a 4-year-old knows what Istanbul is, or Singapore, all that. But why not? Someday they're gonna learn about it. So anyway, I appreciate that you see the layers too, that I was
Yeah.
trying to put in there.
Yeah, so important. We talk about it all the time in Kid Lit. Like it's one of those things that we really strive for, that I think you've set the bar pretty high for this book in that regard.
Oh,
So that's great.
well, thank you, thank you.
We've talked a lot about we've talked quite a lot already about the music in the book, but I want to give you the opportunity to I mean, there's a couple of things that I would love to point out, but I want to give you the opportunity first to talk about anything else about the musicality of the book or where the music is. PBJAMZ, that's what we're all about. We bring together the picture books and the music. That's where, that's where the name comes from, and that's what we do here, only picture books that relate to music. So we always talk about, where's the music? And so we've already talked about that some. Is there anything else you'd like to point out regarding the music in the book?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. It, if you haven't gotten the impression already, I love to talk, so I could go on and on and on about it for a long time. But the basic form and structure of the song is pretty standard. It's kind of like what we call the blues, 1 4 5. I did intentionally stretch out like the first verse just for interest. I think you get that you kind of get that more sense of that when you listen to the song as opposed to reading it. Trying to make the chorus a little more interesting harmonically with the movement of the chords, but it's really quite standard. I wanted the story to be in the forefront, so I didn't want the music to overshadow it and be like super complex or anything. The song has had there's been several iterations of the song, and I'm pleased with the one that we've got on the website. I've done some others that have a little bit more Easter eggs, if you will. Like if you listen to the song, there's a part where he talks about children deserve a little something underneath their tree, and you'll hear like the piano do "O Tannenbaum,"
Oh,
little
fun.
things like that. So there's just like little things in there, and I hope people enjoy it. It's certainly not Bohemian Rhapsody or a a Beethoven symphony as far as the complexity or sophistication of the music, but it's just fun. I think it's kind of catchy. One little thing that's interesting, I was talking about at a book reading the other day, and this was mostly for adults that were there. If you listen to the song, it goes "Go Santa Go," beep beep, and then you'll hear like the music. I actually learned that on the guitar from a guy named Bill Kirchen who played guitar for Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen. And anybody that knows the band, it's a great band. They did Hot Rod Lincoln. If you know that song with the famous Telecaster line. Well, he was producing recordings that we were doing, and he showed me how to do a tractor trailer truck horn on the guitar.
How fun.
I have the guitar here. I'll play it for you. It kind of sounds something like this. You hear that?
It's
Kind of
actually
sound.
it's actually not coming through at all.
Oh, it's probably because I got my AirPods
Oh,
on.
it probably is.
Well, anyway, if you hear it, if you listen to it in the song, so funnily enough, that little tiny thing was sort of the seed for the whole dang song. But I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I'm happy to if anybody has any questions about the song or any ideas like that. But yeah, it was really quite simple. It's based on this old truck driving music, which has a lot of words and blues, and I just wanted it to be fun and up tempo. And and that was really the gist of it.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to point out, let me grab my copy. One thing I wanted to share was that I love how the illustrator worked music into the
Oh
illustration.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
Santa, you see here him here with his guitar, and the reindeer, of course, up there has a
Hmm.
guitar, and there's a scene where they're playing the drums and
Yeah.
a microphone. So there's so much like musical imagery. Um,
And
yeah,
exactly. And so
well done.
what we were hoping is so we didn't say at the beginning of the book like, hey, click on the QR code and listen to the song. We kind of wanted it to like figure it out and come at the end.
Yeah,
So during the story, it might be a little weird, like what's going on here? And then but I think it kind of it's not too hard to figure out when you're reading Go Santa Go beep beep and you look over and they got guitars and stuff. At first it might be a little strange. You're like, I kind of what's going on here? But I think certainly by the end, and if you haven't figured out by then, by the time you see that you can scan the QR code and go back, then it'll certainly make sense as you go back and listen. But we thought it was fun, and again, I didn't think we had to explain it to the reader. Just let them kind of figure it out and be like, "What's going on here?" They're jamming out in the
they
stable
are jamming
because
out.
if you think of the tense of the song, the whole thing until the very end is just them talking about the whole idea of doing this. Donner's like, hey, I got an idea. You can do this and this. And Santa says, well, that's a good idea. And so the book is just them imagining this whole thing happens until the very end. So through the night, without a stop, Santa was able to do all that. They actually did do all the things they're talking about. And then he comes home and, he's back so really the whole thing takes place in the stable when he comes down and discovers all the reindeer sick. So I don't know, it just sort of evolved as we were doing the illustrations and all that. But I'm glad you like it because, yeah, I was like, well, we got to have him playing the
Yeah.
song because that's what it is. It's a
Yeah.
song.
So much music in the illustrations, and the kids are going to love that. Like the ones
I
that are playing the instruments, and that's going to be super. And
I sure
Santa
hope so.
rocking out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I sure hope so.
yeah, that's awesome. So, so again, we've talked a good bit about this, but if if there was one thing that might be overlooked that you really hope that parents or teachers or caregivers don't miss, one thing that you
Hmm.
don't want them to miss, and you want to make sure that they notice it and that they point it out to the littles that they're sharing this book with, what would that be?
I hope that the biggest message about the whole thing is that when you're presented with a challenging situation or a problem, that not only are you going to figure it out, but it might even be even better and, a more of a positive experience than had you not been presented with the problem.
Mm,
I hope that everybody's smiling in the book and they're getting the job done and it's exciting and fun. It's not like, oh, what a bummer. Like, and I think that was it. It was to, you're presented with a challenging situation and you overcome it and you come out even better in the end. And it was positive experience. You can take a challenging situation and turn it into a positive experience. So I think that, I think that's probably the one thing that I would hope that even if it's not like really conscious, that's kind of the feeling you're left with the book. Like, oh, great. Like, yeah, it all worked out in the end.
yeah, yeah, absolutely did for sure. And yeah, I think sometimes those challenging situations, even in our own lives, like not only does it work out better, but it provides much better memories than it would have been without that. We were at an amusement park a few summers ago. My niece was young at the time. She was, I don't know, maybe six or so. And we had just watched the fireworks at the amusement park, and we were headed back to the car, and like literally we're halfway between, there's nowhere to go, and the bottom drops out of this huge thunderstorm. And I mean, it is just a drenching, soaking, you're gonna get drowned in the first 10 seconds of this rain, and it just hits out of the blue. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. You're just gonna get soaking wet. And she was just like, grumble, 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 grumble. And I just busted out laughing, and I just go, but look at the memories that we're making. Like this, we will never forget this. If we had just walked back to the car and the weather had been great, like it probably would have faded. But that, momentary challenge, and maybe not the most pleasant thing ever. Like we were all soaked, but it was something to laugh about, and now we remember it. And I think oftentimes that's what happens with those challenging situations, like it creates this, and same thing with this book. I mean, nobody's going to forget, Santa and an 18-wheeler. I mean, right? So those are those good, again, yeah, something positive coming out of something challenging.
Yeah. And especially for like kids. I know for me that like I was just talking to my dad. My dad is 83, almost 84, and he just got back from he got back from an 81-day cruise around the world,
Oh,
came home
wow.
and then went on another one and just got home. And I just talked to him a couple days ago for the first time since he's been back. And we were just talking about that. Like, growing up, my father uh had my brother and I do a lot of challenging things. Like he always had projects going, and I mean, we were in middle school and we were out building fences and stuff. Like while they were at work, my brother and I out, and we laughed about it. We hated him for it at the time.
Yeah.
All of our friends were out playing with their friends and stuff, and we're like doing this or that or digging trenches or whatever the heck we were doing. But now that I look at it, it's so rewarding to to overcome challenges and to be rewarded with the payoff, whatever that is. So I know for me that was as very, very, very connected to the challenges and that my attitude about that growing up. And so I just thought it was fun to do this in a song and in a book without it being like I'm not telling the reader like, okay, now you've had a challenge and aren't you a you just kind of figure it out and hopefully
Yeah.
glean that from the story. So
Right.
yeah,
And I think too, a secondary message or lesson, if we take it in that direction, is that it's good to think outside the box. Like Donner's like,
totally.
yeah, like, okay, we can't fix the sleigh. I mean, we can't get the sleigh going right now. The reindeer aren't really up to snuff, but let's think about what else can we do and let's be creative. And so that creative thinking and that outside the box thinking.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I think it's so important to encourage children to to think like that.
Yeah.
To be creative in their thinking and all that. And that it's fun and it's exciting. That's a good thing and it's a rewarding thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So Brandon, now that you've got one picture book under your belt, are you planning to tackle some others? And talk to us about what's coming next for Brandon. What are you doing?
Well, so we're in the home stretch here, especially for the people watching now. We're only about not even a week before Christmas now at this
Right.
point. So uh, my wife and I are musicians. We're busy in the last stretch with things going on and all that. So leading up to the holidays, we're gonna get in a couple more readings of the book and all that. As far as future plans, it's so funny. Somebody asked me the other day, "Are you going to do another holiday book?" And I quite frankly, I didn't really think about it, but I was driving to work the other day and just kind of actually humoring myself. And I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't say it now here on the internet because I might give my idea away. But I thought, well, if I do another holiday book, maybe I will do Hip Hop, the Rapping Easter Bunny. I don't
Oh, fun.
So anyway, I have a couple more stories that I've started, and I really, really like the picture book. I have one that I've got some ideas for, and I've sort of shared around to some folks that really like it. It's more about like I don't even know how to explain it, but very simplified book for especially younger kids about like how they can be involved in like the things their parents do, like cooking or cleaning and stuff. So it's a kind of a cute take on that. So to answer your question, I have some ideas.
Yeah.
Uh, this was a lot of work doing this, and in addition to this, I'm in the military still. My wife and I are gigging musicians and all that. So I got a lot on my plate, but in between the cracks there, I'm filling with these other things. So I would love to do another book. I would love to do another book, and I would love to for as many people to. I would love to share this one with as many people as I can too. So I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody out there who's already shown a tremendous amount of support for the book. Quite frankly, as I had said earlier, I kind of like one of these people. It's funny, I did the song and then I did it and recorded it. And it's great. And okay, great. What's next? And I did the book. Okay, I've done the book. Now what's next? And and my wife, God bless her, she's the one that's keeping me on point. Like, okay, well, we've got to market this. We've got to there's a lot more work that goes into it. So I'm sort of in that mentality now. Oftentimes I'll do a project and I'm ready to move on to the next thing too. So this is a learning experience for me. So right now I'm trying to focus on this a little bit, but once Christmas is over and got a little time to little downtime, I just might start that that new book, and I would love to. It's so great. It's such a great experience, such a wonderful experience. And I
Yeah.
do love it. I've got the bug now. I've got the bug now.
Right, I know the bug bites and then you're ready to keep rolling for sure. Yeah, that's great. Well, you guys, I hope you have had as much fun chatting with Brandon as I have and learning all about this really super fun book. And I'm telling you, the kids in your life would absolutely love this one. So be sure to check it out. I will link everything up below where you can purchase. I'll link up the website. You know, I'm going to put on a YouTube playlist with some cool trucker songs and all the fun things with that. There's going to be a Pinterest board with ideas for how you can use it in the classroom, along with my own little tips and tricks for teachers and music teachers, some writing prompts that'll be based off the book. So there's going to be a ton of stuff below. Make sure you check all that out. Also, check the giveaway section because Brandon has quite a few giveaways that he's going to be offering for this book. So, share this episode with your friends and let them get on all the fun as well. And I don't know, we just wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. And I hope that Santa, whether he's in his sleigh or his 18-wheeler, I hope that he is very good to you this Christmas season. Thanks for joining us. Brandon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry Christmas.
holidays.
See you guys next time.
Singing and dancing, PB Jams, yummy books and music, PB Jams, reading, writing, teaching, PB Jams, what a yummy treat, jamming PBs all the time, PB Jams, 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 jams.